Welcome to CloverDX Designer Examples. We're looking at Example 2, REST API. This is a graph which is made up of these boxes called components, each of which represents some action that's being taken with your data. The purpose of this graph is to chain API calls in order to find our location, get details about our country, and finally download the flag of our country. We can run it by hitting Control-R or simply right-clicking and clicking Run CloverDX Graph. If it turns green at the bottom and you get these check marks, that means that it was successful. And we can see in our Data Out folder, we have the flag of our country. My country being the Czech Republic. Let's take a look at how this works in detail. We begin with an HTTP connector. It's simply making a call to a REST API to get the details for our IP address. Every edge has what's called metadata, which is the description of the data and its structure. Some components, like our HTTP connector, will auto-propagate the metadata for us. Then our data goes through a filter component, where if we got a 200 response, our data will continue, but if we got anything else, the graph will fail. Next, we parse the response using a JSON extract component. In the mapping, we could pick and choose which fields we want, but in this case, we're simply mapping every field directly to the output. So then we can see from the JSON extract, we get output data that looks like this with our IP address and our country and our city, etc. Then we take the data over to our RESTConnector component. The RESTConnector is similar to the HTTP connector in that it's making a call to a REST API. But if your API is OpenAPI compliant, then RESTConnector can do loads of the work for you. In this case, we're connecting to REST Countries API, and with the OpenAPI specification, Clover knows what endpoints are available to us. It knows what our input should look like, as well as what our response will look like. So when we look at our input mapping, we can see that we need a country code. So we simply map our country code over to the request that we're making from our IP data. Then Clover knows what the response will look like. So we can see in our response mapping, it's going to give us all kinds of information about our country, but we're only interested in the flags. So we're going to get the URL for the PNG of our flag and the 2-digit country code. Then if there's a 200 response, we'll carry that data forward. It'll look like this. And anything else, the graph will fail. Then we take that data over to another HTTP connector, where this time, instead of hard coding our URL, we're going to take the URL from our input mapping. We will get the URL directly from the PNG URL, and then we're going to create an output file URL with our data out directory and the country code there to create the output file URL. Now, when we make this call, it will save the flag to our data out folder. And again, we'll make a filter here to check for a 200 response. If we do get a 200, then we're going to call the graph a success. And if we get anything other than 200, just like the other ones, the graph will fail. So that's the API's example. I hope you found it useful. Thanks.